make this tangible for our listeners. Give me a few examples of what emotional intelligence could look like and does look like in action.
Yeah, there are lots of dimensions to it. I mean, when we measure emotional intelligence, we take a very pragmatic approach. We don't take an academic approach. We look at how do people who are experienced as being emotionally intelligent, or if you want to call it inspiring or charismatic, or any other word that you use to describe that certain something that some people have when they show up to you. So we look at the behaviors that define them, and some of them would be familiar to listeners. So, for example, we look at people's self-awareness, their awareness of others, their authenticity, their self-management, their positive influence, etc. But let me give you a few for examples. Self-awareness is a great example. Most of us are hopelessly bad at being aware of what's going on inside our own heads at any point in time. So we don't have a sense of what our emotional affect is at any moment in time. And that's really a dangerous way to be, because the way we feel affects everything. If we're in crappy humor, or actually, let's go away from crappy. Let's say you're in really sad, down, tired, fatigued humor. Even the simplest decisions look difficult. They look like a hill to climb. Even the biggest opportunities look like, oh God, there's nothing bright in my world. And yet, when you're in really great form and you're really upbeat and you're in a positive shape, or every challenge you see becomes an opportunity. Self-awareness is, and it can be developed, is simply recognizing, oh, I'm now in such and such an affect. I'm feeling a little bit flat. There's a little bit of anger in me, or there's a little bit of depression in me. This is not the time to have a discussion with my wife about the state of our relationship, because I'm going to take the wrong approach to it. Or I'm in really, really good form. Maybe this is not the day to decide on whether I go for the high-risk investment options in my pension plan or the low-risk investment options in my pension plan. And that's self-awareness. That's just because you know that your emotions inform every decision you make. Just knowing what your emotions are at a point in time changes the quality of your decisions. The second one that always comes to mind is awareness of others. And some people will refer to this just simply as empathy. And one of the really interesting things is, for 200 million years, we have been built with circuitry in our brain that makes us empathetic. But modern Homo sapiens have kind of switched it off or replaced it with all of the various electronic forms of stimulation and information that we have. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Luddite and I'm not against all the technology. But what happens is we forget to feel into or sense into other people's experience. And when we have a sense, in the same way as we do of our own emotions, of where somebody else's emotional state is at, we can then, if they say something to us that hurts us, upsets us, pisses us off, that, excuse the language, ticks us off, then we can say, okay, well, he's overwrought right now, he's under pressure. This decision is not coming from a normal place. And one of the simple ways we train on this all the time is we'll train people and we'll say, when next time you're talking to somebody, listen for the words, but make a particular effort to listen for the emotions that they're experiencing as they talk. So if I got you, Punit, to start talking about your kids, and I listen to the words, and you'll tell me how beautiful are they, how wonderful are, how they've changed their lives, and I'm listening, I'm hearing the words, and the logical brain is processing that. But if I choose to, I can say, okay, I'm going to listen for what Punit is feeling. And if I give you one word or one line back that says, I can tell that those kids really are the center of your universe because I'm feeling that. If I open myself up to that, I feel it. I feed that back. Man, we have a connection like you'll never have with somebody where there's not that intentional decision to sense into how they're feeling. So again, if you can imagine, around emotional intelligence, most of it is just stopping for a beat and recognizing that we're actually able to tune into other people's experience if we choose to do so, and choosing to do so. And again, there's another definition of emotional intelligence. It's choosing to be human in all of the aspects that brings. One of the reasons we tend to tune out of that is we can also feel people's pain, and that can be tough. But it's not a good enough reason to separate the way we can tend to sometimes.